Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning everyone and welcome to Traveler 6, Unit 4, Vocabulary. Today we are going to talk about page 44 and 47. Our main subject today is vocabulary, so let's begin. So for our objective, before we dive into the lesson, we need to know what is our objective. So today we are going to distinguish between words that are easily confused, and we are going to hopefully recognize the meaning behind phrasal verbs. Also, we are going to recognize the meaning behind prepositional phrases. So hopefully by the end of this lesson, our students will be able to achieve those objectives. Let's begin. So our lesson, we are going to talk about page 44, words easily confused. So, why do people usually get confused with such words? They usually get confused with such words because of maybe or mainly three reasons. They are similar but slightly different. They may have the same meaning but are used in different situations. Have more than one meaning. So, let's check them out. First of all, oh, it's not working. Okay, so our first three words are peak, height, and top. So what's the meaning of peak? Peak, the point of highest intensity, value, or achievement. This is the meaning of peak. It is the highest intensity of value, value, or achievement. For example, Farouk al-Zaman was the first Saudi to reach the peak of Mount Everest. So peak is the highest point of something. قمة الشيء. Peak. The bridge carries about 12,000 vehicles a day at peak hours. So the bridge carries about, or can carry, its peak limit is 12,000 vehicles a day. So peak has another meaning. Its meaning is ذروة الشيء. So we have قمة الشيء and ذروة الشيء. So this is about peak. What about height? Height has similar meaning, but it is only used for measurement. So the measurement of how tall someone or something is. For example, what is the height of that building? So if you look at the Mecca Tower, what is the height of that building? You can ask yourself that question is, I want to know what is the height of that building. So height is a word that we use for measurement. He is the same height as his brother. So the word height is used for measurement. Top. Top, the highest point of something. We use it for the highest point of something. For example, they reached the top of the mountain this morning. They were able to climb and reach the top of the mountain this morning. So you can understand now that top is very similar to peak, but they have different meanings. For example, we can use top for situations like towers when you talk about floors. So you can say he is at the top floor. So let's look at the examples in the book. So look at this one. So page 44, we have these exercises. We're going to answer the first three. So peak, height, and top, the words that we just answered just a moment ago. We talked about a moment ago. Number one, it is impossible to get through on the phone at this time of day because it is the hour. So there is a high intensity. If you think about this sentence, it is impossible to get through on the phone. You cannot reach somebody on the phone because a lot of people are using the phone at the same time. So there is a high intensity, a high value of users. So what is the most suitable word here? It should be peak. So here we should use the word peak. Number two, it takes me only 1 minute to climb to the floor of the building using the stairs. It only takes me 1 minute to climb to the floor of the building using the stairs. So he's talking about the highest level of something. So it's the top of something. So he's talking about the word top. Okay, number three, For this, you can see the ocean. He is talking about from this elevation, from this limit, you can see the ocean because you are so high up. So he's talking about a measurement. So he's talking about height. He's so high. From this height, you can see the ocean. Okay, let's continue. What about the next three? So, we talked about top. Let's talk about notice and remark, observe. Notice, remark, observe. Three other words that are very similar to each other. Notice. Notice means to observe someone or something without prior intention. So you can be walking on the streets and you have a certain intention to go to school, to go to the mosque, but you notice something on the other side of the street and you watch it. That is noticing. It is not with intention, prior intention. For example, this child may be walking into the kitchen. So he may have walked into the kitchen and saw a cake, saw his mother was making a cake, and he would say, "Oh, I noticed that you have made a cake. Can I have some?" I noticed that you have made a cake. He didn't have an intention of looking for a cake, but when he entered the kitchen, he noticed that there was a cake. So he asked the question, "Can I have some?" So notice is to observe something or someone without prior intention. بمعنى أنك تشاهد الشيء لكن بدون تخطيط، أنك تجرب تلاحظ هذه الملاحظة لكن بدون تخطيط مسبق. Observe is the opposite. To watch someone or something carefully and intentionally. To watch someone, to have the intention of watching and observing someone, maybe for study, for example. For example, parents should always observe their children to better understand them. So children should be observed. Parents should observe and watch their children in order to better understand them. So the word observe means to watch. انك تشاهد تلاحظ بهدف الدراسة بهدف مخطط له. Remark. Remark means to see something and comment on it. So to comment on something or someone. So you can see something and give a remark. You can comment on it. For example, the supervisor saw my report and his remark was not good. His remark was not good. So he saw my report and he wasn't pleased with my report, so he gave me a remark. He talked to me and he gave me a comment about my report. Okay, let's go back to our book. Let's answer the next three. So we have notice, remark, and observe. So I am supposed to, the surgeon, so that I can see how the operation is done. So I am supposed to do what? The surgeon. What's the meaning of surgeon? Surgeon is a type of doctor who does operations. So that I can see how the operation is done. So you can understand from this lesson, from this sentence, that the speaker is a student who needs to watch this surgeon in order to study from him. So this is some type of observation, intended observation to study. So the best word here is observe. يلاحظ. 5. Did you which way the red car went? Which way the red car went? So he's not sure about the red car and he's asking about which way did it go. So when you ask about like where did the car go, you ask someone who isn't planning on looking for cars. So this is a type of watching and of observation that was not intentional. So it should be notice. Did you notice? Number 6. John, that my room was a mess, which was actually quite rude of him. John, that my room was a mess. It appears that he told him that your room is a mess. Or maybe he looked at the room and saw that it was a mess, and then, which was actually rude of him. So he saw the room, it was a mess, and then he said something about it. So what you can understand is that he gave him a remark. He told him, he commented on his room. So this is a remark. So he remarked, he told him about how messy his room was because he saw it. So you see something and you give a comment. Excellent. Let's continue. So the next three, signal, sign, symbol, and gesture. 4 words that are very close to each other. Gesture. What is the meaning of gesture? Gesture, a movement you make with your body or facial expressions, so either with your body or your facial expressions, you use to convey a meaning. A type of movement, a type of facial expressions you use to convey, to give a meaning. هذه نوع من الإيماءات، نوع من الحركات اللي هدف منها إعطاء معنى. For example, you can see the pictures here. You can say like, that is good, hello, okay, stop. These are motions, movements that you convey with them some meaning. For example, people use a lot of gestures to communicate. People use a lot of gestures in order to communicate. So, body movement. A sign. What is the meaning of a sign? A sign is a piece of wood, metal, or plastic. It doesn't care. We're not really, it's not an important issue to talk about the material. So it's either could be a wood material, a wood, metal, plastic that tells or shows people something. So it is a sign. It's a type of a sign. It's a type of a plaque that you can see on the wall or on something that tells you a meaning, shows you something. For example, be careful. The sign says high voltage. So you can see these are signs like hot surface, high voltage, battery charging. So be careful. Be careful. The sign says high voltage. Signal. A sign, gesture, or sound intended as a message. So it is very similar to a sign. So this is a signal. Something, it's either a sign or gesture or a sound. It can be a sound. But a sign cannot be a sound. But a signal can be a sound intended as a message. For example, Ahmed often forgets to use his turn signal. He always forgets. He gets take a turn without using the signal. The turn left, turn right signal. Excellent. What about symbol? Symbol, it is an idea, shape, or design used to represent something. So it is either it's a picture, it's something, a symbol, but it has an idea to it. So when you saw that symbol, you see that symbol, you see that picture, there is a meaning behind that symbol. For example, the two crossed swords with the palm tree is the symbol of Saudi Arabia. When you see this symbol, when you see this picture, it reminds you, it tells you that this belongs, or this is an emblem of Saudi Arabia. Excellent. So let's continue. So, the next four: signal, sign, symbol, gesture. I'm sorry, I didn't see the stop. Stop what? So he didn't see the something stop. It appears to be something on the streets, a stop sign. هنا بيقصد إنه لوحة توقف أو شعار توقف. A stop sign. Give me the when you are ready to leave. So do you want to leave? You need to give me something. Give me a message. Give me a signal to leave. I need something from you, either a sound or a gesture, a movement, a picture that shows me, gives me a meaning. When you make this in my country, it means that you are bored. If you do this motion in my country, if you do this something in my country, that means that you are bored. So he's talking about body movement, gestures. Excellent. The dove is of peace. The dove is of peace. So what is the meaning of dove? Dove is a kind of pigeon, a white pigeon that resembles peace and tranquility. So the dove is it has a meaning behind it. So when you see a dove, it reminds me of something peaceful. It reminds me of something that is calm and tranquil. So it has a meaning. So a dove is usually a symbol for something, a symbol for peace. Okay. So the next four are location, position, site, spot. Location, position, site, and spot. So what's the meaning of location? Everyone knows location now with the location maps and applications. The place where something happens or exists. It is the place where something happens or exists. For example, I will send you the location of my house. I will send you the location of my house. So it's a simple location, a position in a space. What about position? Position can be very similar to the word location. You can use it similarly, but it has different meanings. For example, a place where something or someone is, just like location, but it has another meaning. A certain arrangement of bodily parts. When you assign your body in a different way, we call it this position. So I am in a standing position. When you have a seat, you are in a sitting position. When you sleep, there are different positions to sleep, like in a fetal position, side position, a back position. Chairs, you can have your chairs, like in a flight, you can have your chair reclined in a back position or in a forward position. You should try to sleep in a healthy position. When you want to sleep, you should sleep in a healthy position. So on the right side, for example, just like the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, told us. Site, an area used for something or where something has happened. Site means a location, but it is bigger than a location. It's an area with boundaries. Used for something or where something has happened. It's an area specially designed for or specially measured for something. This is the construction site for the new university. Construction site for the new university. What about spot? Spot is a very common word. A specific place or location for something. So a spot can be usually a place that is attached with some kind of activity, usually recreational. For example, Amluj is an excellent vacation spot. Amluj, the city, is an excellent vacation spot. Let's continue. Let's answer the questions first. Okay, so location, position, site, spot. My neck hurts today, so I must have slept in a strange last night. So I slept in a strange last night. So I'm talking about body movement, body arrangement. So here we are talking about position. I slept in a strange position last night. The of the submarine is top secret. Of the submarine is top secret. Now we are talking about a submarine. A submarine is a type of boat, a type of ship that sails under water. So it is very secret. What is very secret? Where it is. So a submarine usually goes without anyone noticing, so it goes underwater to be secretive. So the location, the position, the location of the submarine is very secretive. The Valley of the Butterflies is a well-known beauty on the island and attracts many tourists. So the Valley of the Butterflies is a place in Greece, and it is well known as a vacation spot. It's an ad for attract many tourists. So usually a place where you go to vacation in and attracts many tourists is called a spot. So it's a vacation spot. It's a beauty spot. The archaeological dates back to the Bronze Age. The archaeological. So we are talking about an area that archaeologists study. So this is an area, a boundary. This is a site, an archaeological site that dates back to the Bronze Age. Okay, so the last three. We have transfer, transmit, and transport. Transfer, to move something or someone from one place to another. To move someone or something from one place to another. And it has a lot of meanings. You can use it with like people. You can say that patient was transferred to another room. The patient was transferred to another room. So he was moved from one room to another room. You can also use it with money. So you can say you can transfer money online using an application. You can transport money using an application. You can transfer, money using an application. Transmit. When you say transmit, usually you are talking about either medical situation or an electronic situation. So to send the signal from one place to another, that is in electronic. To pass something from one person to another or one place to another in the medical field. For example, you can transmit information through radio signals. Or diseases can be transmitted from insects to human. So transmission is the movement, but you can specify by either electronics or in the medical field. transport, to carry people or goods from one place to another. For example, companies transport goods using huge trucks. Transport, when you move something from one place to another. Excellent. So, let's continue the answers. So, transfer, transmit, transport. They are very careful about hygiene so as not to diseases from one person to another. Today, people are very careful about hygiene. Hygiene is cleanliness, how you clean yourself and how everything is clean or not. Hygiene. So as not to diseases from one person to another. So we're talking about diseases. This is usually transmit. As not to transmit diseases from one person to another. Will you please tell me how to the money from my bank account? Now we're talking about money. So we need to move something from one place to another. Will you please tell me how to? When you usually deal with money, you usually use the word transfer. So we use here transfer. Money from one place, from one bank account to another. There is a bus that will you to the swimming pool if you like. There is a bus that will take you to the swimming pool, will transport you, will pick you up and take you to another place, will transport you to another, to the swimming pool if you like. Excellent. So what about the words that weren't mentioned here? So we mentioned the word surgeon. Surgeon is the doctor, is the person who does operations. A dove is a kind of bird, a pigeon, a symbol of peace. A submarine is a vehicle, it's a type of boat, a type of ship that goes underwater. And the Valley of the Butterflies is a beautiful place in Greece. You can find it, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. This is Greece, it's over there. And it's called that because it's full of butterflies. Excellent. So let's continue. Phrasal verbs. The continuation to the lesson, we'll talk about phrasal verbs. Not all phrasal verbs, we talk about just the verb come. So what is the meaning of phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs, a phrasal verb is a verb plus a preposition or an adverb which then creates different meaning. Phrasal verbs اللي هو الأفعال لما تضع معها حرف جر. حرف جر preposition مع الأفعال هذه which give us a new meaning. For example, we came to school at 6:30 today. When we say came, we mean arrive. So the meaning here is regular. It's clear. We came, أتينا. We arrive. للمدرسة الساعة 6:30. But when you say came across, now came across is a phrasal verb. Has a different meaning. For example, we came across a school while we were going to the hotel. So we were going to the hotel and we came across. So this means we found by chance. We found that's the thing that we came across by chance. So the meaning changed very much. Let's go back to the book. So phrasal verbs, page 44. Look at the extract from the text on page 43. What does the phrasal verb in bold means? So the phrasal verb came across. We told you that this means, it means find by chance, by accident, unintentionally. We have a lot of phrasal verbs in the book here. We have come about, came into, we have comes up with, came around, come up against, and we have different meaning. We're trying now to answer the questions and guess the meaning. So I don't understand how this fire could have come about. So things that he's talking about, things that he doesn't know how it happened. So came about means happen. Okay, so came into. He came into a lot of money when his wealthy uncle died. When his wealthy uncle died, he came into a lot of money. So he got a lot of money. حصل على المال الكثير عندما توفي عمه أو خاله. فهنا came into بمعنى ورث. He came into inherited. Can you believe the crazy stories he comes up with sometimes? Can you believe the crazy story he comes up with? When you say crazy stories, so you don't believe it. This is something that isn't true. Comes up with. So it's not true, it's fake. He thinks of. When you say thinks of, means you can think of something, but it has a different meaning here. It means that he is made up. إنه اختلق هذه القصص. The boy fainted, but fortunately he came around a few minutes later. He fainted, but came around. Fainted, we know fainted means he lost consciousness and he lost control of his body and he became fainted and he fainted. So he came around a few minutes later. So came around means regained consciousness. The organization has come up against a lot of criticism for the way it spends its money. It came up a lot of criticism again with came up against of excellent face. So when you say come up against means to face. So finally we'll talk about our phrasal verbs. Our prepositional phrases. We have this sentence. So we said, like the pioneer plague, the record was created with a view to. It's a preposition, word preposition. Communicating information about the world to alien life forms. The word or the phrase with a view to has a different meaning than it means hopefully. And hopefully we'll continue our lesson next day.